All right, Sebastian, what's up, my man?
How's it going, Dan?
Pretty good so far. Why don't you just quickly give a intro, who you are, what you do, where you're from?
Cool. My name is Sebastian Cure. I live in Austin, Texas, and I am a full-time music producer and studio owner.
Awesome, man. Good deal. So, what describe your situation with the studio kind of before coming on board and working with us? What was going on back then?
Uh, so I guess the biggest issue was that work was sparse and it was coming in at an irregular rate. While there was work, hitting the pavement and going and meeting people, making relationships was yielding some work. It was very, very tough to forecast any incoming work. Work would come in, and some would be big tickets, some would be smaller tickets, but the inconsistency was crippling, almost. I was starting to have to make some real big game time decisions whether this was going to go on or not. And so it was tough, not really knowing where the paychecks were coming from, even though I was doing really good work and working blessed to have a local community full of musicians. Even then it was really hard because one commands a certain price tag that people are hesitant to pay. And it's easy to get in the mindset that you're not good enough, and that's why people aren't paying you to do it. Which is just I guess, an easy way to solve the issue, to look at it. I guess no, it's just not going to work, which is bullshit, because the proof was in the work I was doing. It was good. The work is good. But that's where I was before I started working with you.
Yeah, man. A lot of a lot of lessons in what you just said there, man. Absolutely. It's kind of the easiest. It's like, oh, if I look at that, well, that's just, out of my control, whatever. It's a way to kind of pawn off the issue. Very big thing you said there. I hope people listen to that and take that in.
Right.
So what, we work together for series of months here now. What are things like now? What are some changes? Feel free we could talk about some of the strategies we did. In general, how are things going now compared to before?
Well, at the moment, I've got work planned out for the next couple of months. Like, I can point to income. I was never able to do that. That may have happened once in like 3 years before, where I'm like, oh, cool, I've got, the next couple of months. That it was almost, that had almost never happened. And now, since we've started working slowly, while not yet at the chief aim, the process is showing that, like, by continuing, I'll get there. And I'm constantly juggling phone calls and emails and personal relationships with more bands than I've ever been working with. And so it's just, for the first time, it's very optimistic. To repeat, even though I don't feel like I'm at chief aim, at my chief goal, the optimism is just the biggest driving force behind this. Seeing that it works, and knowing that even though I know I can be doing more, and I'm going to be working towards that, having this sort of newfound almost stability changes everything. It changes the way I approach my work, where I enjoy the mixing, which then that alone leads to a whole host of benefits for the clients and all the work. Everything benefits when I'm having fun doing it. And I think that fun and enjoyment comes from knowing that there's work ahead after the project I'm currently involved in ends.
Yeah.
That's new.
Makes it a much more fun experience when you're not stressed and worried all the time,
For the artists too. I mean, I feel like they'll pick up on it. And it's, when I remember being stressed out and freaked out about where money was going to come from, and that stress carries over into my role as a producer, which that's hurting everything. Everything is like being attacked from all angles at that point. And it just, that sort of doesn't happen anymore because of the, I guess, level of comfort that comes with stability.
Yeah, 100%, man. And one of we don't have to go full into it strategy
Right.
wise, but just something interesting because there's, I'm sure, guys that will watch this and know me more from the online space, but maybe they have a local setup. And one of the issues they run into is just a time thing with how much time they can spend going out and meeting bands. So you want to describe a little bit about kind of the approach that we took versus how people normally do it.
Totally. What I love about the strategy we took was it was sort of like an in-person approach to the online. When we first started talking, you explained to me about how when you take a business meeting with one person, you're taking a business meeting with one person, but online you have the opportunity to take a business meeting potentially with thousands of people, which is is such one of the most amazing things about the online structure. But because there was potential for there's a local scene where I live, you and I sort of developed this plan that mimicked sort of like an online presence thing, but did it in person. Kind of a hybrid use where I used Facebook to create awareness of I guess my mission, which was ultimately is always to help musicians. As a producer, that's the ultimate mission. At the end of this whole conversation is that the goal is to help as many musicians in my community as possible. I ended up being able to grow a physical group of like 40 to 50. Well, I've got 100 people in the group, but like 40 to 50 people showing up to these in-person meetups that ended up driving a lot of my business. So when I go out to see a show, I'm going out to see one band, and I end up talking to that one band, and the correspondence over the next week or two is with that one band, and that takes a lot of energy. The plan you and I came up with meant that I was sort of attacking it from the same angle as if I was give the single band attack, but it was now I'm talking to 40 musicians in person. Because I work well in person, and online discourse takes practice, but my strengths were in face to face, and I could apply that. I guess that my face to face techniques that I use with clients to multiple people at the same time, and that really sort of slingshot business and my awareness in the community. Now I'm getting tagged on random posts all over Facebook about how to build community things, how to improve musicians' lives, and all I've really done is put myself out there as someone who wants to help. I haven't cured anything. I haven't figured I haven't developed any sort of cure for the musicians' financial issues, but I'm there as someone. The result of this technique put me in a position to where I'm just wanting to help people, and it's incredible how musicians and artists react to people who genuinely just want to help.
Yeah, because a lot of people they feel like they need to be like a guru in order to get people together in a room and help them. It's like, no, I mean, you don't have to be the guy that has all the answers. I don't have. There's plenty of stuff that you guys ask, and I'm like, well, I'm gonna have to refer to someone on that. That's not weird at all. And yeah, man, I'm pumped that I becoming a go-to guy in the market, and that's just awesome. So
that was my dream.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
What I wanted. That's what I wanted, was to be a go-to at the end. I wanted to be the guy they thought of when time to make a record. I wanted to be amongst the people that got thought of in this town, and that's starting to happen, and that's one of my favorite things.
Yeah, man, I love it. I'm excited about putting that on steroids and really going.
Yeah.
It'll be fun. So 2-part question here. Why did you decide to hire a consultant like me or join a program like this? And what were your biggest fears around doing that?
I think it was a number of things. I think it was perfect storm. It was at a time where it was fight or flight. It was sink or swim. It was like something had to happen with my business, which I guess at that time I wouldn't have even called it a business. I call it a business now because I feel my mind is in business mode when I think about production, which is an art. Man, and there was a Facebook ad that could not have been more, I could not have responded to more positively. It was something you had put out. And you were describing my issue in very much detail, what I was going through. Like a working producer who my work was inconsistent. I couldn't forecast my work. I couldn't plan my work. And I felt that, the best thing was like, wow, okay, this person is, this before we'd met, you were this advertisement on social media, that completely, it completely engaged me. Later on, I find out the value of why that works, like how the inherent in me responding to that Facebook ad is the sort of the core of everything. Like when you're trying to help as well, and I needed help, and someone was offering me the help exactly like I needed, and there was no pressure. It was conversative. It was very, I guess once we started talking, it was definitely an easy decision to make because everything was so forthcoming and honest about the program. But I knew I needed help. I didn't know if I had to go to my old mentors who were production mainly. They're old school guys who came up during the old times. They didn't know. I could go ask them and they wouldn't have had a correct answer for me. They wouldn't have known how to help me. In fact, I did. And the answer was like, just go and try to make $250 a day and you'll be set. I'm like, man, no way. That's not what I'm going to, so that even the help I had sought out wasn't really working. And when I found you on Facebook, which is how I found out about you and the community, it started to make sense that it was well within my hands and means to grow a business in audio production. Given skills and knowledge and know-how and a whole bunch of other attributes, which seemed to not be enough to make it in the game, this was putting it all together and kind of putting the missing link. But yeah, I needed help. Desperately, and this was my life. I was 100% going down this production path, and at the right time, you show up offering a solution, and I definitely took it, and do not regret it at all.
From Facebook ads to pals.
Right? I could, now that I've gone deep into Facebook theory and marketing, I could go on for hours on why it's amazing how it works that way, but it's pretty incredible.
It's marketing it's networking on steroids.
Yeah,
that's it.
And offering solutions. Nothing about it nothing is gaming a system or trickery. It's based on solution and help, and I think that carries over from a producer needing career help to a musician needing production help to needing who has an issue and who has a problem, who can fix it. And
yep,
simple concept, but not easy to sort of arrive at.
Yep. As you know, it takes some testing for sure.
Yeah.
And then lastly here, what advice would you have to someone who was in a similar situation? Maybe they have a real cool local studio and they're good at what they do, and are struggling to have some consistency. Quick little piece of advice you'd give them.
Outside of just being like, join up with Dan, the most important thing is help, selfless help. Because at the end of the day, your community is what's going to prop you up and what's going to bring you work and put food on the table. So if you're actively trying to improve the community by helping musicians, that's going to come back. It's undoubtedly going to come back and help you for a number of reasons. You've positioned yourself as someone who's willing to help. That makes you a very attractive business. option when people are thinking about spending their money. Someone who actually wants to help. Not that that's the driving force behind wanting to help people, but it's a really nice side effect. The but be someone willing to help the community. That's been the biggest thing. There's a lot of mindset changes, business things, numbers and scheduling and all that stuff is really, really important. But I think that when I realized that my mission as a producer is to help my community, that's when things really, really started to click. All the other details like scheduling and marketing and all the things that seem boring and tedious start to make sense when that bigger picture is taken care of. So yeah, my advice is go help as many people as possible.
The cool part is that you don't have to be the guy in town with the biggest credits and biggest studio in order to be the guy to do that. That's what's so cool about it. Anyone can be that person. There could be multiple ones in the same market too,
I'd add learn, also always be learning, because, I found that there was a point in which, like, okay, I feel like I've told everybody everything I know. And there was a little stalling point. It was like, okay, time to go learn, because I have to keep learning so that I can keep that's how nobody just knows this stuff. Everybody learns from somewhere. And I have my fountains of information that I then spill out into whoever will listen to me.
This is big with me too, man. It forces you, it puts you on the hook to have to continue growing for the sake of your clients.
Yep.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Well, dude, I'll let you get back to work. Thanks so much, man. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, man. My pleasure.
Awesome. Thanks, bro.